Welcome to another Telltale Books video, continuing my Fritz Leiber series with his second published story, titled Adventures of a Balloon. This was published in 1935, I believe in the Churchman, though my notes show first publication in a book called In the Beginning by Cheap Street in June 1983. I think it was published in the Churchman magazine because he had a bunch of these stories that he wrote and submitted to that magazine, and they were his very first works. And the magazine, of course, was for a religious institution, and the stories were aimed at children. So the second one, Adventures of a Balloon, and yeah, I'm wearing the same shirt because I'm filming these back to back. Just the first two. Then the third one, I'll probably have a different shirt. Anyway, in Adventures of a Balloon, a professor answers the question of what will happen to a helium balloon if you let go of it. You got some kids, they're talking to this professor, and they're asking, they're holding a helium balloon, and they're asking him, what's going to happen if I let go of this balloon? And he tells them it'll go up into the air. And they say, will it go on forever? Well, no, at some point it's going to reach the edge of the atmosphere and it'll probably come back down. And so then they question, well, what if it did keep going? What would happen? Well, then it would go out to the stars. Would it keep going on to infinity? And they keep asking these questions. But eventually their questions get to where he really can't give scientific answers anymore. And he invents these creatures that live in the atmosphere. And fly around in the atmosphere. And so it lapses into total fantasy. I'm not exactly getting the religious side of this. It seems to just be teaching a lesson of science, really. And then going further to become entertaining. It's an amusing story. It's really good for young kids. Like I say, there is some book called In the Beginning that was published in 1983. This book that I have, Strange Wonders, was published by Subterranean Press in 2010, and that's where I found it and read it, as well as the rest of these. These are good stories. The writing is really good. These are his very first stories. They're super short. The writing is really good. Characters are well realized. It's totally appropriate for children. There's nothing too complex for them. And yet there's still enjoyable stories for anybody else to read, as long as you understand that you're not getting the Big Time or Fafhrd and the Grey Mouse are here. You're getting stuff that's very different from anything else I have ever seen by Leiber. So that was number 2. The third one of these stories that will be coming up very shortly. These are so short, I'm going to go through them fairly quickly, but I'm going to take a break and do some other things before I do the third one, so maybe a couple weeks before you see this. Anyway, the third one is called After the Darkness, and it's also in this book. And I hope you'll join me for that. I hope you'll also hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave any kind of appropriate comments about Adventures in a Balloon or Fritz Leiber or whatever other thoughts you have relating to what I've talked about here. And come on back for more. I'm going to do all of them. When I get through these 6, I'll be up to Jewels in the Forest, which I've already done. I've already done the automatic pistol. And then after that, number 9 is the Bleak Shore, which is the second Fafhrd and Grey Mouser story. All those coming up in the next 2-3 months. So I hope you'll join me. I'll be here.